At the beginning of psychological inquiry, the human mind was not approached as a machine to be fixed, but as a landscape to be observed slowly and with care. Early thinkers noticed that people did not respond to inner conflict directly, but instead adjusted their awareness in subtle and often unconscious ways. Over time, these adjustments came to be known as defense mechanisms, not as signs of weakness, but as quiet processes through which the mind protects itself from excessive anxiety. They do not remove difficulty, but soften its impact, allowing daily life to continue without interruption. In classical psychoanalytic theory, defense mechanisms are understood as functions of the ego. The ego stands between instinctual impulses, moral expectations, and the demands of reality, attempting to maintain balance among competing pressures. When this balance is threatened, anxiety appears, not as a failure, but as a signal. Defense mechanisms respond to this signal automatically, shaping perception, memory, emotion, and behavior in ways that preserve inner stability. Some of the earliest defenses emerge in childhood, when the capacity to tolerate complexity is still developing. These primitive mechanisms operate quickly and directly, prioritizing clarity and safety. Denial, for example, excludes distressing aspects of reality from awareness, allowing the individual to function when emotional resources are limited. Projection relocates unwanted thoughts or feelings onto others, reducing inattention by shifting its perceived source. Splitting simplifies experience by dividing it into absolute categories, while acting out releases inner pressure through behavior rather than reflection. These mechanisms are not deliberate choices, but early solutions to the problem of overwhelming experience. As development continues, defense mechanisms become more refined, particularly in how they manage anxiety. Rather than excluding reality entirely, they begin to limit access to certain thoughts or situations. Repression keeps distressing material outside awareness without conscious effort, while suppression allows thoughts to be set aside intentionally until they can be addressed safely. Avoidance alters engagement with the external world, reducing exposure to predictable sources of discomfort. These mechanisms help regulate emotional load, maintaining equilibrium during periods of stress. Their effectiveness lies in subtlety, becoming woven into habitual patterns of life. Other defenses operate not by exclusion, but by transformation of meaning. Through rationalization, uncomfortable outcomes are explained in ways that preserve coherence and reduce emotional strain. Intellectualization approaches experience through analysis and abstraction, creating distance from feeling without denying reality. Isolation of affect separates emotion from memory, allowing events to be recalled without their full emotional impact. These cognitive defenses reflect a growing capacity to work with experience rather than avoid it. They rely on language, thought, and interpretation to soften distress. As regulation extends further, some defenses shape behavior and identity more directly. Regression allows temporary return to earlier patterns of coping when demands feel overwhelming. Identification and introjection stabilize the self through connection with others, incorporating external qualities into one's own sense of identity. These processes highlight the relational nature of psychological development. Other mechanisms redirect emotional energy rather than suppressing it. Displacement shifts feeling towards safer targets, while reaction formation converts unacceptable impulses into their opposites. Emotion remains active, but its expression is reorganized to reduce conflict. Over time, these patterns may become characteristic styles of response. Some defenses are considered more mature because they integrate inattention into socially constructive activity. Sublimation channels instinctual energy into creative or meaningful work, preserving vitality while supporting engagement with the world. Compensation balances perceived limitation by cultivating strength elsewhere, maintaining coherence through adaptation rather than denial. These mechanisms operate gradually, shaping long-term patterns rather than immediate relief. Humor occupies a unique position among defenses. It maintains full awareness of reality while softening emotional impact through perspective. By holding experience lightly, humor allows resilience without distortion or avoidance. Its relief is quiet, often shared, and grounded in acceptance rather than control. Across all these mechanisms, a common theme emerges. Defense mechanisms are not obstacles to understanding, but expressions of how understanding is maintained under pressure. They operate continuously, not only during moments of crisis. They shape how individuals perceive themselves, relate to others, and remain oriented in the world. No single defense is inherently good or bad. What matters is flexibility, the ability to move among different forms of protection as circumstances change. Psychological development does not eliminate the need for defense. It expands the range of available responses, allowing greater tolerance for complexity and contradiction. Seen in this way, defense mechanisms reflect adaptability rather than limitation. They reveal the mind's quiet effort to preserve balance while remaining engaged with life. There is no final stage in this process, and no definitive resolution. The mind continues to adjust, subtly and continuously, as experience unfolds, and within that ongoing adjustment, defense mechanisms remain present, working quietly in the background, supporting stability, continuity, and the gentle rhythm of everyday awareness.